gentlemen,
please make sure that your seatbelts are fastened.
Because you're in for a wild ride on the Drive at 5 with Jake Wimberly. Live and local on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by Maristar Casino, and we're brought to you by BCI. Begin your protection plan today and learn more by going to bcipeople.com. Protect your IT infrastructure in your business or your house of worship. BCI is your network knight in shining armor, 601-427-4185. David Murry is on your radio, Genespage.com, 247sports.com, talking Mississippi State, all happenings in Starkville. David, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, my friend. How are you?
Well, happy holidays down there, and I don't know if I get a chance to see you at the Liberty Bowl or not, but we'll be heading bowl-bound a week from tomorrow. So Mississippi State back in bowl action for a 12th straight year and keep the string going. I feel pretty good about the game. I'd certainly feel better if Charles Cross was playing in it, but I understand why a guy who is projected as high as certainly first round, maybe even a top 10 draft prospect is going to sit out. We're going to see more and more of that. And related to it, I had to turn in all my SEC game bowl predictions for it. It's almost futile because between now and then, with the exception of the playoff teams, there are going to be guys opting out or deciding it's not worth the trouble or things are going to happen. You just sit there and go, I almost want to watch the bowls now just to see who the heck shows up for both teams.
No, you're right. And, we do a lot of sports gaming on this show. And I will say bowl season picks are the hardest picks because of just what you said. You don't know who's going to play. You don't know which teams have maybe, felt slighted and they mentally check out of the ball game. So it's
like Brigham Young.
Yeah, just like Brigham Young this past weekend. So it's very hard to peg. You get down to the Final Four and some New Year's 6-day games. That's a little easier, but it's still even tough when you get a quarterback or a big time player in a New Year's 6-day game that opts out as well.
Well, the thing too, and in a way, it makes me enjoy the bowls even more. And trust me, I love bowls regardless. I'm not one of those people who says bowl season means nothing. I enjoy it. It's more football. I'm not ready to turn my mind to basketball. In fact, I'll be ready to turn my mind to baseball about as soon as bowl season ends because we're not far away from, quote, the defending national championship Diamond Dogs taking to the field. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this bowl season, and I'm looking forward to this bowl game. I mean, yes, I wanted to be in the Texas Bowl or possibly the Gator. The Liberty, though, is going to be a good matchup for the Bulldogs, and the Mike Leach Texas Tech angle is really meaningless at this point because, as I wrote yesterday, anybody on the Red Raider roster was at most in middle school by the time Mike Leach left there, so they don't know anything about it. I think what matters is this is a game Mississippi State wants to play to win. You finish the season losing in the Egg Bowl when you know in the first half you had a chance to take total charge of that game and make a statement there. So now you want to win the bowl, you want to get some momentum going in spring, and you want to get good competition going during this bowl camp, especially for guys at positions that you need some rebuilding in, especially on the offensive line and most definitely at the safety positions.
David, this team, of course, we're visiting with David Murry, Genespage 247, Genespage and 247sports.com. Mississippi State improved their points per game by almost 10 points this year. That's pretty typical year one to year two. Mike Leach at Texas Tech, Mike Leach at Washington State. And as you kind of project with this recruiting class with a lot of wide receivers, we had Steve on to talk about this last week, some offensive linemen and such, and you look at this team, I would say that it's right on pace to where Mike Leach wants it to be.
And to be honest, yes, the improvement by double digits is a great deal. It should have been more. Anybody who watched the first half of the season saw the number of points State left proverbially on the field that did not score, whether it's with missed field goals or some red zone breakdowns. The second half of the season, you saw the red zone offense click. You saw things taking shape. You saw more timely, not more prolific, but more timely use of the running game. You saw a receiver core really figure out what it was. Will Rogers getting so comfortable. The offensive line figuring out how to handle not just regular, rush 3, drop 8s, but teams that, tried to rush 4 and 5 guys at them more often. If Mississippi State had played the full season they do in November, they're very likely in a New Year's Day Bowl or something close to it this year. So it gives you a lot of optimism for next year. As I said, if you do replace some things, and to me, the big news of off season so far is the Quinton Sharp getting an extra year. Here's a guy, and I'm writing some pieces evaluating State's recruiting over the last 20 or so years at every position. And Quincy Sharp's the guy that, okay, a nice pickup a couple of years ago. He was the anchor to that line this year. And you get him back next year, all of a sudden that comfort factor, now he and Will Rogers together, it's priceless, that position. It allows you to start moving some guys around, maybe find some new roles at the tackle positions where you want some guys to develop. Because you're going to have the receivers back in the most cases, you're going to have your running backs back, and the addition of Catravian Hargrove, which I think is a really well-rounded guy who maybe adds some explosiveness to the position. And, of course, Will Rogers is going to go into the season a candidate for all quarterback honors next year. So, yeah, they could have averaged even more points this year. They're going to do it next year.
David, I got a question here from one of our listeners wanting to know, do you anticipate Mississippi State going after any more offensive linemen, maybe say in February? And I'll even parlay it on this. Maybe in the transfer portal, they feel pretty good about what they have coming in with this class and maybe what might be returning.
Now, I'll have to qualify this, and Steve could speak to it better than I can as far as numbers terms. They can't go out and get a bunch of wholesale guys because, remember, folks, you're still stuck at the 85 limit. You can't just replace everything unless there's some more, waivers written in there. But I do expect Mississippi State to look for another offensive tackle. I certainly hope they would at this point because I don't want to move any of the guards out to tackle. From what I've seen this past year or so, I really hope they go after one more tackle out there, and they should be good. They definitely need to pursue a place kicker. That's quite obvious at this point, and that may end up being a walk-on type of transfer. We'll see how that works out as well. Got to have some more safeties. The safety position was the weak link on the defensive side this year. You've got to upgrade the talent there, not just numbers, but talent. You feel good about the defensive line, but you need to start building some depth for the future there because you're going to lose a bunch of guys off this coming year. So, yeah, there's some transfer needs out there, but I would say your caller is right. I think offensive tackle, to me, has to be that priority along with the place kicker.
David, you said 12 bowl games in a row, and I think sometimes, in some of the bowl stuff, like you said, it's kind of been watered down with the addition of more bowls, but the competition's gotten more fierce. I mean, everybody's recruiting more strategically. There's more players. There's a lot at stake here. Kind of take us through, because I'm old enough to remember, and I know that you are too, when bowls.
Thanks for reminding me.
and I meant that in no disrespect there, because trust me, these Christmases are clicking by for me as well. But when Mississippi State, it was an anomaly to go to a bowl game, and you're talking 12 straight years. I think younger fans kind of they cannot process what that actually means.
They can, and I enrolled at Mississippi State in 1975. That was the year after the Bulldogs went to the Sun Bowl, which ended an 11-year drought in that. Now, of course, there were only 8 or 9 bowls back then. It was 5 seasons, and I was a graduate before the Bulldogs went bowling again. Then you go from 1981 to 1991 without bowling. Fans can't appreciate now. Those who take bowls too lightly forget that it's not automatic. You have to win your way into these things, and you've got to use them appropriately as recruiting tools. Here, let me throw this out, too, for fans out there who disregard the bowls. I was talking to Scott Strickland the day that they opened the renovated stadium in 2014, and he reminded me that some of the revenue paying for that 20-year lease or bonds on that expansion are being funded by bowl revenues. Mississippi State and all schools in this class need to go bowling because they also tie not just your season tickets, but your donations, little bonuses to your fine boosters, favors you can do for them to bowl games as well. Bowl games matter. I know the person who sits there and goes, I'm not going to go spend the money to go sit in Memphis or any bowl. I'll watch it on TV. It doesn't quote mean anything. He's wrong. It means a lot to the program itself. Maybe not to you in that particular. That's fine. You don't have to go, but it means a lot to the program. It means a lot to next year's team. This is a sophomore, junior, even freshman-loaded team this past year. This bunch needs that practice, a little more honing together. Some years bowl camp is overrated. At Mississippi State, last year and this year, bowl camp is absolutely not overrated because would this Bulldog team have won 7 games this year and been in great shape to win 3 more had they not gone to the Armed Forces Bowl last year to make up for the time lost in 2020? Don't overlook that bowls really do matter in the big picture.
David, shifting gears real quickly on a couple topics when I got you here. One, basketball, your thoughts early. Mississippi State gets a win on Friday against Furman, 69-66. They'll play Winthrop coming up tomorrow here in Jackson before they move into SEC play against Arkansas on the 29th. Where is this team? How strong is this team? How good is this team to you or not with one game before conference play?
I'll summarize it in 3 things. One, there's enough talent there to be a good NCAA team. The talent is clearly there. Especially when you get Tolu Smith back. You've got to get him back in the mix and get him healthy because you need his low post presence there. And 3, they just don't have a killer instinct. And that's been true for years here. I don't know if it's a reflection of the coaching or the style, maybe just the point guard play sometimes. But if this team can figure out how to not just, take control of games like they did the other night with a nice lead that, frittered away at the end, but to hold that lead and to drive the nail in, get that coffin shut on an opponent, this team can do some damage in SEC season, but it's got to get that mean edge before they go into it because the personnel is there. We know Ben Howland can put a lineup out there. He's got some good rotations going, but the team has got to find that killer instinct somehow. I don't know how you do it, but if they do, they've got a chance to be a really nice team this year.
David, finally, I had a listener ask, do you know when or if the state of Mississippi will start selling national championship tags, car tags for the baseball program?
Well, when they do, sign me up for one of the first ones there because, and by the way, I want to say this too. I've noticed something that Chris Lemonis' staff is doing. They're sending out national championship hats and letters of thanks to all former Bulldog players they have on record. I mean, guys who, endured all those decades of, helping build this program, have enjoying great careers, but never could get that one championship they played for. He's bringing them into the fold as well and reminding them, all these guys, from the stars of the day to some of the backups, even manager trainers, you played a part in what this 21 team did. And that, to me, is another reason why Chris Lemonis is the right man in the right job at the right time in college baseball at Mississippi State in the Southeastern Conference.
Find him on Twitter at DogsBiteMag. Check him out, Genespage247sports.com as well. David, always appreciate your time. Safe travels, and have a great Christmas. We'll visit with you again soon.
Jake and Ben, y'all have a happy holidays, too, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Talk to you soon, David. Appreciate it. David on the Malone Roofing caller line. That's ecmalone.com, 8337 Malone, and we're brought to you by the College Corner. Go to collegecornerstore.com.